Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at the Elegoo Saturn and we'll also discuss some new issues which you might want to keep in mind when making your next purchase. As always, what you see here represents my own opinions and no money has exchanged hands. I purchased this machine with my own money in order to do this review. So to start things off, what is this machine and what are the benefits? Well, this machine in particular has a 4K monochrome screen and was one of the very first at a budget-friendly price. The monochrome screen allows the machine to print faster with the added benefit of the screen lasting much longer. It was so popular for pre-order that the machine sold out within the first couple seconds and a second round was created with the same issue. Afterwards, it took nearly a year to finally find it back in stock online. This machine boasts a print size of 192 by 120 by 200 millimeters. However, it is important to note that there's actually a couple different iterations of this machine which come in slightly different sizes. Mine, for instance, was the V2, which actually had a slightly larger build plate than some of the more recent ones. As an SLA printer, it uses liquid photosensitive resin to cure prints layer by layer, which makes it ideally suited for detailed prints. However, it does require proper ventilation and safety precautions since the resins are toxic. When I first received my machine, the lead screws weren't lubricated, and I would highly recommend that you add some lubricant to prevent issues along the Z-axis. You also want to double check to make sure there's no obvious particles or debris, even though this shouldn't be an issue. Because of the larger print size, I did find it necessary to coat the FEP sheet with some PTFE lubricant. So long as you have the proper leveled bed, this should allow the prints to come off the FEP sheet without issue. When you first get your machine, you'll need to level the print bed, and to do this, you're first going to take out the vat and put a piece of paper on the build plate to protect it. You'll then go to Settings, plus Manual, plus Home. Once this is set, you can then loosen the two bolts with the provided Allen key while holding the build plate flat as you tighten them. You can then go back one menu and choose Set Z Offset, which will set the Z offset for you. Go back to Manual and rehome the plate and bring it just slightly up by 0.10 increments to make sure that you have an even distribution pressure when you move the paper. As a side note, if your print isn't sticking, 90% of the time is that the build plate isn't leveled correctly. You can find issues in the first couple layers at two key points by listening for the suction sound that's made when the plate makes contact or lifts away. For some reason, every so often I ran into an issue while using the pause print function. In certain cases, the build plate would be slightly off when it returned to the print, and this would cause a print failure. In my case, I believe the main issue was a possible symptom of the LCD screen, which brings up another interesting point. If you notice artifacts in your prints and these artifacts are in the same area and get worse and worse, don't assume the screen is broken. You can save yourself a lot of problems and money if you first reseat the LCD screen. In my case, I had to do this just after the third print. However, once I did this, the issue was resolved. When you reseat the screen, make sure to put back the tape that's holding it in place, since this will help prevent it from coming out again. My Anycubic Photon also had a similar issue, so this does seem to be a more widespread issue that's not always discussed. I would like to see future iterations have handles of some sort added to the sides of the build plate to make it easier to grab onto while keeping it at a more comfortable angle for removing prints. It's more stable to hold the bed at the attachment, and this can often lead to leveling issues if you put too much pressure. I've since installed a flex build plate to help prevent those issues from arising, but it's something to keep in mind. The vat has a great design feature which includes 4 bolts that can act as feet when sitting on a table or help lock it into the correct position when preparing for a print. Another great feature of their vat designs are the handles that they've placed on the sides. Both are great features that I wish more companies would have, since it really does add quite a lot to the user experience. One thing I'm not so fond of is how the bolts holding the vat to the base can come out completely. I, like I'm sure many others, have had these bolts fall straight into the vat when my gloves were covered in resin. As of recording this video, it's important to note that the manufacturer which produces the motherboards for this machine and others has made an important update which locks the user into using Chichibox. Now you can use either the free version or the pro version, however you will need to import the files and slice them in their software for the time being. While it is possible that they may unlock this in the future or provide the companies with the format to save the file, it isn't currently the case. Also important to note is that certain machines are not yet supported, so make sure to find out which version you have of your machine before you make any firmware updates. Now I also found that the default lift distance was way too high, and that was one of the first settings I changed within the famous Cheeto Box slicing software. The menus are very simple but effective, and the screen is easy to read, which always is a great feature to have. They've gone ahead and added a clean feature which helps expose the full print area. This makes cleaning up after a failed print a lot easier to manage since you don't necessarily have to remove the entire vat to clean it. Instead, you can go to Tools plus Tank Clean plus Next and simply pull out and discard the exposed layer. I have to say that I'm not fond of the lid design, however I'm fairly certain that this was to keep the cost lower on the machine. I would love to see a future iteration which has a door that opens to the front since it takes up a lot of room currently. Here's a couple of ideas of what that could look like, all with their pros and cons. If the company could have an aftermarket lid, that would be great since it would be an easy upgrade for me as a consumer. To be clear, the lid is currently perfectly functional at the moment. However, in a production setting where space is a premium, most machines would be stacked on top of each other, and this does become an issue. So how is the print quality, and does it make a difference when printing with a 4K monochrome screen? Using files that I purchased from Titan Forge, I printed these on 2 different machines. Here's the same files printed with the following settings on both the Elegoo Saturn, which took 7 hours, 12 minutes, and 44 seconds, and the Anycubic Photon, which took 7 hours, 13 minutes, and 56 seconds. The Anycubic Photon has a regular LCD screen and isn't 4K. Here's the print results with the anti-aliasing turned on, as well as image blur. For testing purposes, I've also matched each of their settings to the print height. Since I don't currently have another 4K SLA printer at my disposal, I'm not currently able to compare it with something similar. So what was the verdict on this machine? Well, honestly, it's a very good machine in general, and it gets a solid 8 out of 10 for me. It produces great prints, and it comes at a very affordable price. Most of the issues that I encountered while using it were minor. Since the connection for the LCD screen will be something that only appears after a couple prints, it's something which can be difficult to check in quality control. It's most likely the reason why I've experienced the same issue from multiple manufacturers. If you have some suggestions on your own, please leave them in a comment below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you and take care. Also, for those of you who actually want to use this video as a guide, keep in mind that I will be posting the transcript on my main website to make it easier to follow along. Alternatively, please feel free to slow down the video by hitting the gear icon on the bottom right hand corner of your screen to change the speed settings. If you want to support this channel, please feel free to check out some of the merch on my website. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you and take care.